So one of the original OGs in the hobby, Eddie, put together some really cool stuff for all of us. I think he's going to host it, and we're just going to talk a little bit about opinions. We got Skylar from To The Moon Collectibles. We got someone from PWCC. Who do we got from PWCC?
Eric Myers.
Eric Myers from PWCC, and we have Jim Beckett from Beckett. So let's hope hopefully that we get all these people. And
Godfather of the industry started the first ever
and obviously there's no
grading company.
cameras and all that stuff back then, so everything changed. The entire game is, but the show's been awesome. Have a lot of fun.
Hopefully I don't chop up, it's Vinicor, right? Yes, Vinicor, nailed it. So we've got Mikey from Pull Wax here, Mikey Vinicor, who runs Pull Wax and does a lot of stuff on Instagram and has a huge also wholesale distribution business that he supplies a lot of up and coming breakers with distribution of merchandise. Sitting right next to Mikey, we've got, you guys see him on Instagram quite a bit, Skylar Shaner from To The Moon Collectibles. Give it up for To The Moon Collectibles. And To The Moon, he is, he's all over. He built his following from day one, from one follower all the way up to where he's close to 10,000 followers. And he's a brand ambassador for a lot of brands, and including InvestiCard, and from the beginning. So we've been working with Skylar for quite some time now. He's a partner with the InvestiCard platform, and he's got some good insight to show on how to build your social media page organically from the ground up. This next guy came all the way from South Korea just to be here on the panel. Give it up for Eric Myers from PWCC, one of the largest sports card platforms out there. If you're looking to vault your cards, sell your cards, lend off your cards, PWCC has been doing it for quite some time. And we're going to dig into some stuff with Eric Myers. Last but not least, our headliner of the panel is Mr. Jim Beckett, who is the original founder of Beckett. And there is a lot of Beckett slabs out here in Dallas, not only in this room, but in the main marketplace room. The original founder of Beckett. We appreciate your time and each and everyone else's time for coming up here and spending some time with us. Lots of changes and a lot of growth within companies like Beckett and PSA, and of course, some of the other guys like SGC. We've seen companies close down because of too much business, right? Which created a whole lot of issues for companies that were that were running their business based on cards coming back and generating sales. From your time, from the time that you first started with Beckett, how do you see like the whole grading for what has happened over the last couple of years? How do you see the whole grading unfold, over the next, 1, couple, 2, 3 years, and where do you think it needs to be?
Well, apparently there's a shortage of grading in the sense of people sending in cards and there weren't enough graders. And so when the companies you mentioned stopped receiving submissions, it was an invitation for other entrepreneurs to jump in and say, we'll grade your cards. And so what will happen in the next few years is survival of the fittest. But the new entrants, I can't say that all of them will make it, but I think some of them will make it. And if they're working hard and grading and providing a good service, some of them are going to make it. But I'm hoping BGS maintains its strong position, and I think PSA is secure, but this backlog is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, it's tough to, it's a service type business, and there's not too many industries where you pay for a service, or you send something in, and they don't provide that service, on time, right? Where you have to wait 5 months, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 12 months
to fulfill a service. And I don't know any other industry other than sports card where you can pay for a service and not get it. And so I experienced that trying to grow my company. What are some of the things that you did when you first started Beckett to get the Beckett brand to where it is, today?
Well, one of the things we did was, which sounds really scary right now, is when we started, we had an on time or it's free guarantee more than 20 years ago. And now it just sounds insane, but it's how we got going. And the reason we could do that is because we had a company, we had a bunch of good graders, but we also had what the grading companies I don't think have as much. We had a bullpen of additional graders who were the price guide analysts who themselves had helped us get started with the grading. And so if we got behind, we could, when they were already overworked, we could bring them in for some shifts to catch up. Now there's no bench strength because it's all hands on deck all the time for PSA and BGS for sure, perhaps SGC as well. All hands on deck. There are no other hands. And they're already working overtime and all that. So hence more grading companies coming in. They've got to get great graders, and not only having great graders, you've got to train them in the system that each company has, because each company's slightly different.
I mean, it's on time or it's free, right? I mean, that would be great.
As I said, that was a former policy.
Yeah. Okay. It's not.
So
So we won't start asking Beckett to pay for our grading. So, sure, absolutely, go ahead.
So, Jim, I have a quick question. Obviously, you see that there's a lot of new grading companies that you just alluded to. And my question to you is, how do these new companies with no branding and with no past history in sports cards, how can they not only be successful, but how can they stay alive? What advice would you give to these new grading companies that want to, become graders because of the, hold up at PSA and Beckett and all that type of stuff?
What I think they're going to try to do is try to be better. And what they really ought to try to be is not worse. Because if they try to be better, there will be a tendency to rush things, to make sure you're on time, to perhaps be less conservative in the grading. So that will not work long term. Long term, there's no shortcut for paying your dues, solidly grading, not overgrading, not undergrading, not cutting deals for people. And if they do that, they hopefully will have an enduring business. And if they're doing shortcuts, the hobby's pretty quick to pick up on people that are not doing things quite right.
Sure. It's tough. It's tough building market value, in terms of the grading space. Of course, we all know PSA is at the top, right? The highest value. That's what we want. In some cases, it could be right. Beckett is there. Of course, vintage is SGC is strong in the vintage category. They've been grading cards for quite some time on the vintage side. The modern side, not so much. But it seems like each and every show that I go to, we see more and more new grading companies, right? And they're all doing the same thing, right? Some of them are trying to get creative with color labels and adding technology. I think that there's opportunities for new grading companies to come in and take some type of market share away if they can provide great service, right? Great service, good value.
They're not taking market share away. They're taking the market the current market is not being served. So they're not taking old business away. There's so many new people coming in. Your business is doing that. There's so many new people coming in, new cards to be graded. Does anybody think PSA or BGS will have a down year? Their business is going to continue to increase. The new business, though, the people who don't know where to go, some of them are going to go to these new entrants.
Sure, but only, at the end of the day, it's all about sales and how much the item will sell for. From a collector's standpoint, great. I want to put my card in the slab, get it slabbed, put it into my PC and my collection, that's great. But for the other side of the business, because this is a real business, right? In terms of, at the end of the day, bottom line, period, at the end, it's what the product is going to be valued at and be sold for. And we all know that PSA and Beckett is 1 and 2. And for me to put a high-end card into one of these third-party grading companies and not get the value, I think that's the challenge that they have. Is
There's
trying to get.
It's not a challenge because it's not going to happen. An informed submitter is not going to give an expensive card. You're right, but the hobby breaks into 2 parts. There's the over 100, over 500, over $1,000 cards. You probably are not going to experiment with a new grading company as the price goes up. But in the under $100 market, PSA's kind of priced themselves out of it, sort of. So there's a real opportunity for cards to be graded. They're under $100. You're not just figuring out the resale value. You're figuring out the net value you're going to get, less the grading fees, which are going to be extremely differential going forward. And you could pay $50 or $10 to grade the same card. If it's a $60 card, I don't think I'm going to do a $50 grading on it.
When you first started Beckett, what was the cost for grading when you first started that first
$10.
$10? Yeah,
So you guys heard what Jim just said. He was talking about how PSA and BGS really price themselves out of grading in general, because if a card is, $100 in a PSA 10 or $150, you're not going to grade that card. But in the past you did when it was, $17 or $20. So there's really an opportunity for a grading company to come in and be able to say, hey, if this raw card's $5, but in let's just say SGC as an example, this SGC 10's $50 and the raw card's $5, and that continues to show consistently based off trajectory on sales in different marketplaces, then there's a huge opportunity for somebody to come in and actually monetize and be a great grading company. But for the most part, when we look and we see a new grading company, we all don't feel good about it. We all think, oh, they're taking an advantage. Oh, who is this company? What are these colors? That's what everybody thinks. So somebody has to come out and make the market for smaller end cards, which is why all the hobby boxes used to go for so much money. Because you can open up a 1920 Prism hobby box and you can grade all of the base rookies that, your cost was X on the box, try to hit the hits, and all of the base cards will pay for your box. So that's why all the boxes went up so much, and that's why everybody was ripping, and there was such a ripping craze. But now, since base cards aren't worth what they were worth, since now people understand what the value of the cards are, since now people understand, wow, maybe I'm not going to make money breaking, that's what completely changed the market. So there's a lot of opportunities for grading companies to do well, but someone has to step up to the plate. And that's really on you guys to figure out. No, that's on the consumers. The consumers run the market. So by being able to be educated speaking to each other, communicating with each other, being on the same page, we can all work together. So it's very important to do these panels, to talk to people, to help each other. And we control what the hobby is. So it's very important to understand, market value and stuff like that.
It's a great subject, grading. And Eric Myers, you can give us your take on it. And this is what the panel is all about, going back and forth here and getting the insight.
Yeah, my honest opinion, I think SGC is going to come out as the biggest winner. I'm a really strong believer in SGC. I personally myself, I don't have any SGC cards. It's not because I'm against them. It's just the opportunity hasn't arose. I've owned a bunch of them in the past. SGC focuses, in my opinion, on what's really important. What had happened in the market, when things went parabolic here in the bull market, we just accepted that the price of grading exponentially kept getting higher and higher. SGC now is charging $30 a card, which is very palatable. The turnaround time is 20 to 25 days. So they're service industry minded. They're very mindful about how long it takes before the individual gets his card back. Not only that, most people don't talk about the fact that in bull markets, everything's good. You can just throw money at anything, it's okay. What is stable in bear markets? In bear markets is vintage, right? Vintage, there's one is PSA, two is SGC. The most expensive card ever sold to today's date is an SGC holder. So if somebody's willing to pay $5-6 million for an SGC card, most of the industry should wake up and say, hey, these people have been around for 20 years. There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, again, I'm from Dallas. I'm first and foremost going to support Beckett over any of them. However, the reality of the situation is SGC has stood by their customers. They don't overcharge. They get stuff back in under 30 days. They're number 2 in vintage. Their cards have been around for 20 years. I think as a collective group in the hobby, we should lean towards more. If somebody's going to be the true winner, all the grading companies, I'm okay with PSA being number 1. But of all the companies, new or old, I like SGC. The fact that they only charge $30 is crazy.
SGC has definitely come a long way, and Investacard knows that for sure. We were working with them for in the beginning of 2019, before the whole pandemic hit, and we were one of the first companies to start grading their modern cards, and I was marketing them heavily. But I think they've grown quite a bit. They've expanded. They went through the bumps in the road, just like any other company does. And I think that the future does look bright for SGC, as well as for the other 2 main companies. And the future looks bright for the whole grading in general. I think it's going to work itself out. And a year from today, we'll see different grading prices. And I think some of the guys that are taking over at PSA, they're smart guys. I think they could get this thing to work and get it to a point where, yes, we're going to get your cards back on time, but there's processes and systems that need to change over there, and I think that they're working on it. Speaking of growth, and the wax market has grown by leaps and bounds, Mike, and you've been a big part of the wax market and building distributions and working with young guys that are starting in the sort of the breaking business. For someone out there that's listening that wants to start a breaking, that enjoys breaking, loves wax, loves the hobby, wants to create their own business, where would you start? And what's the best way for them to get some type of distribution? I know one key way is networking, right, at shows just like this. But give them your take on how you started and what it's going to take for someone to build a business.
Okay, so I'll dumb it down. I mean, basically, if you want to start an Instagram, if you want to start becoming a breaker, you want to start making money in sports cards, the first step is to figure out your brand. So figure out, okay, this is what my brand's going to be called. Have some validity behind the name. Create the Instagram page. Make sure the domains are all the same. So grab your GoDaddy, grab your Instagram, trademark it if you have enough money, and really start figuring out. There's 2 really important concepts to being accepted by the community and being successful in the community. The first thing is research and development. You need to know about the cards, you need to know about sports, you need to know the different parallels, the different inserts. You need to be very knowledgeable about what you're doing, or else you're not going to be accepted. That's number 1. Number 2 is you need to network. But how do you network? You go and you support other breakers. Skylar does it all the time. Commenting, supporting, sharing, being active. You engaging with other people is going to directly benefit you, whether it's short-term or long-term. It's very important to build that community and be able to network with consumers, network with buyers, network with sellers. And you don't always have to buy from them. Yes, ideally, you buy from them. That's the best way to support any business, is by buying their products. But you can do other things in this era without money that can put you in a different conversation. So I think those 2 things would be the most important to grow the page. And then as far as distribution goes, it's very difficult. You have to just buy and buy and buy. There's a bunch of distributors. You can go to GTS, go to Southern, you go to Peach State, you can go to Gold River. There's so many different distributors, but in order to build your allocation, you're going to be battling with a lot of different accounts. And, the longer it takes for you to start, the harder it's going to be. So I think, retail products, being able to find stuff from different sellers. Every business has a niche, right? Whether you're doing grading, whether you're selling pre-packs, whether you're doing slab auctions, whether you are a big collector. There's so many different angles of the hobby for you to figure out what you do. As Skylar, you said it today, staying in your own lane, it's super important. So staying in your own lane, figuring out what your business is, and then as you're in your own lane and you grow your business, you can obviously expand. If you start as a collector, you can start breaking.
Shows here, it's not just about buying and selling and trading, but it's about networking and building your resources out. The famous saying, your network is your net worth, right? Especially nowadays in social media. And distribution, I know, is challenging in the wax market. You build it by being out there, like Mikey says. And one guy that's been out there, if you want to pass the mic down all the way down to Skylar, who's been out there from day one, building content from the ground up and being a brand ambassador for many brands, including Investacard. You started day one, and in a not so, let's give it a long elevator pitch way. You started from day one, from the first live video that you did, and you grew it from there to where you're at today.
Thank you, Eddie. First of all, I want to give a huge shout out to the Dallas Card Show. This has been my first Dallas event, and they've treated me like a VIP. So everyone in the room, give Dallas a huge round of applause. It's been an amazing show. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to a bunch of amazing people on the TMC brand ambassador team, Investacard, for having me on the panel and supporting us since day one through their partnership program and everything else. Show Your Slabs, stand-up displays, Slab Strong, Smooth Sleeves, The Grading Authority, Card Social, Zion Cases. We also have Network and whatnot. We do a lot of stuff with them, and Tees for Humanity, who does all our merch. I want to give a huge shout out to all those guys, because I'm not just representing myself, I represent those businesses with everything I do. I put them on all my merch, and I think that's so important. I was in the tournament bass fishing industry. I've also done TCG, but that's where I got the idea for the brand ambassador program, because in pro fishing, you need money, and you use lures, but I like to represent stuff I like. I like to, if I like something, I like to show it off, and I like to show that I care by letting them put their brand on my merch, and that's where I got the idea to start the TMC brand ambassador team, and it's just continuing to grow every single day, and we love it. But I think for us, I'd never thought we would get to where we're at today, but it's because of every single person who hits the follow button at To The Moon Collectibles on Instagram is the reason where we're at. But I think it's not just me, it's the hobby. I mean, we love doing interviews, we love learning, so one of the things that I started doing was going live, and I do a live show at least once a day on Instagram. It's just talking, it could be lunchtime with Moon, it could be Moon on a walk, it could be Moon at the gym, it could be Moon at, it doesn't have to be about cards, it could be just hanging out, and we really enjoy it, and we started going live with people. One of the first people we went live with was Investacard, and then Sasha, and it just grew from there. And Sniper Manis in the crowd, give him a shout out, Sniper Manis. But there's so many people now, and it's awesome to see how other people do this, because this is not just one person, this is a whole family. I mean, and once you really start diving in, sports cards is really a second home, and I think we all can relate to each other because we're all doing the same thing. And one of the biggest things Eddie told me a while back, if you're not buying, you're dying. So I started buying a lot of stuff and started supporting a lot of people, and I started making connections that way. And then another thing I heard was, just going around and joining lives, like Mike said, you don't have to be in there buying stuff. If you're just in there supporting, hyping them up, it hypes them up and it makes them feel good, and then the other people get involved. And a good live is the best live. If you got a hype live and good things are happening, good things are gonna probably get cold. That's kind of the theory in sports cards. You're hyping the heat's gonna come. So we really, at the end of the day, we really enjoy this hobby, and like I said, I'm grateful where I'm at, and I want to continue to grow. And see where it goes from there. But if you guys are just starting this, all it takes is just get on the phone and do it. Just build a brand and start from zero, and pretty soon you'll be at 100, and then 1,000, maybe 10,000. And you just gotta hustle.
Good stuff, hustle, yes. Shout out to To The Moon Collectibles right there. And Jim, I know things are a lot different than they were when you started Beckett in terms of social media and internet, right? What was it like back then trying to build a business without the internet and social media compared to what it is right now?
We had two things that were very distinctive. One is we had a huge travel budget, and we had a lot of kind of customer service reps that dealt with the magazines as well as the pricing. So we were on the phone all the time to 15,000 card shops out there and all the different thousands of card shows. We had people East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, every weekend. And so we had to, it'd be way simpler if we could just do it virtually, but a lot of that stuff, and we had snail mail. We at one point we were getting 1 million pieces of mail a year.
Direct mail.
With stamps on it that you have to open up and discard the envelope and read the letter.
These guys don't know how good they have it nowadays, right? I mean,
An email you can just press delete.
that's it. You know, running a company and generating leads and having outside sales reps and setting up a lot of shows and you know, mail outs coming in, and also direct mail pieces that went out because there was no email. So if we were trying to generate leads, and I would assume, you know, signing up new card stores to carry the Beckett product, you were sending direct mail pieces in, and had, you know, area managers that went around to all the stores. Nowadays, it's just all, you know, digital, right? It's tough. It's not tough, but it's easier. That's what it's easier if it's done properly. And content creation, social media, that's where it's at if you want to build your brand. If you want to sell on a successful marketplace, auction place, there's been no bigger than PWCC over the last 7 or 8 years, right? And they've grown by leaps and bounds, not only from, you know, the auction side of selling, but vaulting your cards, and of course, my favorite, the finance side of the business, the lending and leveraging your sports cards to maybe put more money back into the hobby, more into other sports card investments or other investments in general, right? And leveraging your cards. For those of you that don't know about PWCC, you can give them an elevator pitch on what you guys do and how you feel the auction marketplace, the whole entire auction market is going to look like over the next couple, 2, 3 years. Also in regards to the finance side of things and collectors and investors, you know, utilizing the finance side to leverage their asset.
Yeah, at PWCC we have two basic fundamental platforms. You have the Premier Auction, which runs once a month, lasts about 2 weeks. That's for cards in excess of $25,000 each and up. Generally speaking, we have about 160 to 250 cards for Premier. The way we display that is 4K imaging, so you have front back, 360-degree rotating imaging, and then every card on there gets a 2-minute video that's done by the owner of the company. So that's the Premier auction. On top of that, you have the vault marketplace, in which you can store cards in your vault. You, the individual, just by simply clicking buttons, can list them for sale, either buy now or best offer. And then by a click of a button, if you so choose, you can just run them for the monthly auction. The monthly auction is basically cards that are $20,000 and less. I think next month we got 21,000 cards scheduled for that. This month was a little heavy, we had about 42,000. Those are the two main platforms. Now we also, with the vault, what we do with the vault is, even if you don't want to sell your cards, even if you just want to keep them, people store their cards in the vault, and it's free insurance. So your whole entire collection is free to be insured for the life that's there. If you choose not to sell them with us, you can keep them there 20 years, and the only thing you'll pay is a 1.5% fulfillment fee that basically just covers the labor of us scanning them, listing them, getting a price evaluation and everything. And that's basically what the vault is. And if you had $1 million, you could store your collection of $1 million there and never pay insurance. They're just fully insured under us. Now, in the lending aspect, how we do that is we do 3-month notes. So let's say you have $1 million in your collection, you're looking for $10 million in your collection. Let's just go with $1 million because that's the postulate. So we'll loan up to 40%. We try to keep it around the 27 to 30% margin. So we would loan you $300,000 of liquid capital for you to do whatever you want to do with it. It doesn't matter. The first quarter is 4%. Every quarter after that is a 3% fee, which comes out to a total of, if you choose to run it out for the whole year, it's 13%. But you're only held to the 3-month contracts that you sign. So if you just did it for 3 months, you're only out 4%, and that's it. Which really isn't that bad in the grand scheme of things. No, yeah. Yeah, for 3 months. Yeah. And that's it, right? You don't have to renew. Yeah, and that's the thing. And people do that, and we probably have about 20 million out. Most people don't do that. Most people have no idea. And the other end of that is that money that we loan out, we get from investors, and we pay those investors back a stagnant, fixed 9%. So if you had an extra $1 million laying around, you can make 90 grand a year, guaranteed. Yeah, on interest alone. And those are the multiple avenues that we have. Now, one quick thing with PWCC, because we're in a tax-free state, so a lot of people run their whole business through our company, because all you do is have the cars that you buy mailed to us. We scan it, we list it, we do all the valuations, we insure it and everything, and then you can list it on the website at Buy Now Best Offer. And if they sell it, or if they sell on another platform, if it sells on, all or whatever other platform you go to, you can have it shipped from us to the buyer. The individual who owns the cards never has to touch it. They never have to do it anyway.
Lots of, it's a real asset class, real business, right? You guys have been doing, I think last year in sales, upwards of several $100 million, right?
400
400
million.
A real business in sports cards. Lots of marketplaces out there to sell. Lots of new auction marketplaces that have started. And I think that part of it is going to continue to grow out. I know Beckett has been, they've had their marketplaces, for umpteen years. And where do you see that whole sector of the market? Companies that have just sort of rebranded and relaunched, like Golden Auctions and some of the other ones. You see that continuing to build out?
Yeah, I think in the next 5 years, it's going to be best for the consumer. What's going to happen is, before it was monetized, it was basically a monopoly by eBay. And now there's going to be a lot of different places, a lot of different marketplaces. You're going to have us, you're going to have Golden, you're going to have Alt. The Fanatics come in and they open up their own marketplace. And what's going to happen is, all these marketplaces ideally are going to compete for the customer's business. The customer is y'all. So fees are going to come down. People are going to start. At first, we charge people for insurance. Now, to be more competitive, we insure people's cars for free, right? Just as a little edge, so that saves the customer, y'all, money. So as more and more marketplaces come, if the consumers do what they should do and fight for and make marketplaces fight for their business, it'll benefit the consumers. You'll see fees, God willing, come down. So on our premier auction, everybody's traditionally done a buyer's premium, 20%, right? So when the card sells for 100K, the buyer pays an additional 20%. Well, we give half of that 20% back to the seller, which has forced other auction houses to bring their fees down by giving money back. So by default, ideally what should happen is all the marketplaces should help the customers in the long run. So I think that the more that you have marketplaces, I know it's counterproductive what you think for me, for having more competition for PWCC. However, I think what happens in the grand scheme of things is it works out better for all the hobbyists. Well, the auction house is just an auction platform, right? So once you list it to run and it starts running, it's on auction. The marketplace is you can once the card's in our possession, we scan it, we have it all the listing and everything wrote up. You pick the price. You just list it for Buy Now Best Offer. Yep, you can do a stagnant Buy Now or Buy Now Best Offer. Right, but not everyone. So let's say you had 100 cards in the vault. Some of those you might want to keep, so you'll have it. Right, yeah. And you do all that. Just by clicking the button. You just click the button.
The owner can control their own destiny, on the marketplace there, and bring it up, put it down, change it, buy it now, this, that,
You run your own company.
or move it out to auction and stuff. And the hobby's gotten to a big level in terms of, we've seen record-breaking sales, right? There's no doubt about it. 6-figure, 7-figure sales. Will there be a $1 billion card soon? We looked at how long it took to get to $1 million card or a $5 million card. But for some, high-end cards are $5,000, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000. It all really depends, and it's a real asset. And some of those cards, that someone might want to hold for a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? They don't want to sell it, right? It's an art piece in some cases, right? Just like art. So you can lend off of art, and now you can do the same thing with sports cards, which PWC has been doing for quite some time. InvestiCard has just entered that part of the space with our service that we provide with the Sports Card Advance, where you don't have to sell and you can take equity out of the card
and utilize it. We do it a little bit differently than PWCC and are willing to take more risk. And I think it's needed, especially on these marketplace floors out here at these shows, right? Add liquidity to the hobby. But where do you see that sector going? I know we don't have enough time to talk about Fanatics, so I don't want to bring up Fanatics, but I know that they're moving, that's part of their model, is to add a finance piece. Are we going to see a ton of growth, in your opinion, on that side in the hobby, in terms of the lending?
I think the lending aspect is paramount. In order for the hobby to keep growing, you've got to have lending. So what's going to happen is there's going to be people who do this and make profits. Some people make $50,000 a year. Some people might make $1 million plus a year. What happens is they start allocating those funds for personal collection pieces, and then they realize soon enough, if you have enough personal collection pieces, those pieces aren't doing anything for you. They're not making you any kind of capital. Now, and it goes fast. So if they have maybe 100,000, 200,000 personal collection pieces, what they'll do is they'll take loans against those through us, a place like Investicard. And that way they gain that liquidity. Once people start realizing that this is actually a business for them, but they still are hobbyists and want to have personal collection pieces, they're going to learn to leverage those assets to get money at low interest rates and make that money. Because if you can pay 4%, but you're making 10 or 20%, you're still netting while simultaneously owning assets that you don't want to sell. And eventually you'll sell them, you'll make your 40 or 50% margin on those assets, but through the process of owning them, you'll still make 10, 15% every quarter while getting liquidity and then reinvesting that.
Jim, what's your take on that side of the industry and the space, this turning into a real alternative asset in the finance side of the industry and where it's going?
Well, I think as Eric said, it's the competitive landscape. Competition is increasing in every way in this industry, except with Fanatics. And so I'm in favor of survival of the fittest and provide the best service to the customer. And the customer is smart. The customer will figure out that even if something seems like a good deal, it might not be. It might be a short-term good deal and a long-term bad deal. So I love the fact that there's more options to collectors and investors. In fact, collector-investor is, there's not a firm line between those two. The value of most people's collections have gotten up to where it is an investment.
Appreciate it, thank you. And with that, I think that we've talked a lot about. We talked about grading, we talked about wax, we talked about building your wax business, we talked about platforms. All this is all good stuff within the hobby. Again, we want to thank Mr. Jim Beckett for being here. We also want to thank, you guys can get up in the room and clap too for Jim Beckett. You know those slabs that you're selling in your showcases right now? That guy created it right there, he originated it. So we want to thank Kyle, the promoter here at Dallas Card Show. Give it up for Kyle and his team from the Dallas Card Show, because we wouldn't be able to be up here if it wasn't for Kyle and his good team. And I remember coming to this show for the first time here at the convention center, and this is how you build it. You got to get in here and educate. You got to create new contacts with people and network. It's not just coming here and buying and selling, right? You got to
get the microphone.
I had a question for you. I see you traveling to shows a lot, and I see you promoting, all of your businesses and everything else. Don't you think that after all these shows Kyle has put on for us, that this is a strong staple as shows go on? Like when you see the Dallas show, you mark it on your calendar?
Yeah, I said after the first Dallas show, where he moved to this venue right here, I said it's the mini national, right? That's what I coined this as the mini national, and it's just a different feel. I've been to a lot of shows. You see me, I travel to a lot of shows because that's how I got to build this brand. That's how I got to, every show that I go to, it's about,
brick by brick,
bringing on new customers and Some shows I might not go to and not buy one single card, right? I might not sell one single card, but you damn well know that I'm going to make a new contact, a new relationship.
You're gonna go.
Yes, and a lot of lives. You damn well know that I'm going to have some type of Zoom meeting set up, that week with someone that we're going to, generate some business together.
Microphone.
100%. And that's one of the reasons why we put these panels on to educate, and we could probably turn it into a separate brand, the InvestiCard Live, which we plan on doing at a lot of shows. I want to thank Eric Myers from PWCC for coming out here. Give it up for Eric Myers. We've had the opportunity to meet and chat, and especially on Clubhouse, which is a good platform to network and meet. We were able to get some good chats going on there. So make sure you go follow InvestiCard, the InvestiCard Clubhouse on Clubhouse. I want to thank Mikey from Pool Wax. Give it up to Mikey. A big. Yes, shout out to Chicago 6. Speaking of Chicago, we are going to be live from the Sports Card Spectacular in Chicago. We'll be funding the hobby in Chicago the week before Thanksgiving. We're scheduled to go there. Hopefully, Canacar can, make arrangements and make sure we're well planned for that. Give it up for Skylar for To The Moon Collectibles. And always looking at things, the glass half full, always with Skylar. Always bringing good vibes on his lives. If you're not following Skylar, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you go follow Pool Wax. Make sure you go follow, Hustle?
It's Howley Hustle.
Highly Hustle. And please make sure you go follow InvestiCard. If you're not following us, we'll be here until.
You don't want to have any questions?
Actually, you know what? We've got some free slabs to give away. Mikey.
Let's go.
Mikey, pick up those slabs.
He wants to win slabs.
Yes.
How do we decide the winner?
We just pick people out. We just pick them out. Come on up here, my man, the guy behind the camera. Yeah, let's do it. We're gonna give away some free slabs there. What's his name? Mike VC. Come on up. And the first time I heard Mikey rip during the quarantine, and he was ripping like 1920 hoops or some product like that. And when he pulled this guy, this is how it sounded. So, and this is
Where's Lil P? I only do it for Lil P. Lil P somewhere.
Little P is in the room or no? When he pulled this guy, this player here, he brought down the house. Zion Williamson! And that's what you win right there. Zion Williamson, 1920 hoops, of course, graded by Beckett. 9, there you go, my man, that's a good slab right there. Oh my, don't sell that. The guy all the way in the back with the white sweater on, come on up. We're giving away free slabs here.
Sponsored by InvestiCard.
Yes.
Come up.
Hold on. Oh. I mean, you gave him the Zion.
Give him a job.
I know, but you gave out.
Selling more than time.
You gave out the Zion chant. You got to give out this one because in 2020 we left the house with Zion and this guy right here out of
Murray State.
Nah. No, another one.
Ja Moran out of Murray State. There we go, right there. That's a good one right there. My House Optic PSA 9. Not too shabby right there. Appreciate it. Yeah, what's your Instagram?
I'm not sure what my Instagram.
He's not sure. Get out of here. Get off the stage. You're not sure where you're.
I'm good.
What's your GPS?
You're not sure.
Oh my God. Look at that. Oh, he's getting
If you had good grades, show us your report card and we might give you something. Who has good grades? Anyone have good grades here? Yeah? All right, let's hear it.
He walked out with a Tyler Hero and a Jean Moran. Who else do we got in? All the way in the back right here. Come on up. We're giving away free slabs. We got to get rid of these slaves. Yeah.
How do they do it?
All right. Okay. Yeah. What city are you from? Dallas, Texas. Well, this is not a Dallas Mavericks, and this is not a Luka. So you'll have to take this guy right here. Shea Gildas Alexander, SGA, PSA 9. Appreciate you coming up here and supporting us here on this panel. Who else we got right here? How about young lady? Come on up.
Yeah!
Yes. She looks like this is a good guy. Like basketball? Okay. She is. Are you with Alt?
There you go.
What do you do for Alt?
Marketing.
Nice. Good stuff. Alt, yeah, let me tell you something about, I've been using the Alt ad, and let me tell you something. Unbelievable, super easy to use, saves a lot of time, and of course I've been using their numbers, we might lend off of those Alt numbers, so stay tuned for that, but super easy. It's really a good app. It's really a good app and saves a lot of time. And I know my guys have been using it the last couple of shows to price out deals and stuff like that. So really good stuff and maybe a good part of your show. Yeah. You like basketball, right? This guy you gotta like because Trey Young, Panini Chronicles, Trey Young PSA 9. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Come on up. Oh. You like basketball or baseball? Huh? You take both, of course. Well, we got 3 left. We're going to give you 1. Okay, this guy plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh, the iconic Ken Griffey Jr. rated rookie. There's not another famous rated rookie than this card right here. This is the most famous rated rookie card. Ken Griffey Jr. rookie, PSA 9. Put that in your PC right there. Appreciate it. Thank you. We got 2 more to give out. Anybody else? Right up here. Come on up. The man with the hat. Oh, my bad. Who else do we got? Anyone? Come on up. What are you waiting on? Take the Griffey. Take the Griffey and run. Take the Griffey and run. Colin Sexton, we appreciate it. Colin, there we go. Colin Sexton right there. That's what it's all about. Listen, we appreciate each and every one of you, and all you guys are on live watching the panel. We appreciate that. I'm sure that Mikey's going to cut up this content, and we'll be posting it all over To The Moon, Pool Wax, InvestorCard. Yes, we are going to be continued to be live from InvestorCard at the Dallas Card Show. As always, invest in the best with InvestorCard. Thank you, guys.